Greetings to all those that will be listening to the presentation brought to you by myself, Lisakhile Kalipa. I hope everyone is doing great and amazing, and I hope you're ready to learn more about this business that I have. And yeah, let's get into it. So, before we continue with this presentation, I just want to point out that on the top right corner, I've attached my business logo and its slogan, which is a pixel, and the slogan is Your Lab. So, more details about this and how I came up with the name of the business will be discussed in this presentation. And then, obviously, I've also attached my overview for the presentation so I don't leave you hanging and you can see what is to be expected. And from the first point, we have executive summary, the governance structure, business registration, SA business laws, business practice and scope of practice, business operations, logistics, and lastly, we have finance. And all of these points will be discussed thoroughly within the following slides. So, executive summary. And you may be asking yourself, what is that exactly? And basically, the executive summary is a written overview or a summary of the business plan. And for my business specifically, it is said that it's a strength and conditioning company which specializes in or on one-on-one athletic coaching and sports massage therapy. And those are my two main points that I'm focusing on for my business. And the name combined is combined from apex, which means peak, and excel, which means thrive, which symbolizes athlete performance optimization. And the thought process behind that was that I'm an athlete myself, and I know that when you are at your peak, you are most likely to thrive in any area of your sporting code, which is why I wanted to create that environment for athletes to be able to be at their peak or help them to get to their peak, and then that helps them to thrive in whatever they're doing. And the business is founded and managed by myself, Lisakhile Kalipa, and I've also joined forces with Aluta Sikanda alongside Sisa Jasop, which I've worked with for multiple years and I've been basically friends with them. We share the same goals, which is why I thought that it would be a great opportunity to work alongside the two of them. And the business operates lean, which means basically we share work in shared spaces or affordable spaces and essential equipment only due to limited capital, which basically means that we rather use things like kettlebells, dumbbells, and also your barbells instead of things such as your trap bars and basically more expensive equipment because we are working on limited capital as students who are trying to start up a business, which basically means we operate lean. And then also the business strategy is emphasizing affordability, accessibility, and also performance in athletes and around Port Elizabeth. So the business will be located in Port Elizabeth, but obviously with the help of the internet, we can also work online with to be able to reach a larger group or target market for ourselves. The objectives and goals of the business. Our target market is to work with high school or university athletes, fitness enthusiasts, and local teams. And also in the long term, we'd have our aspirational partnerships would be to work with Chipa United Football Club and the Warriors cricket team, which means basically you would like to work with either the athletes or have a certain partnership we'd have with either the football club or the cricket team. And also to expand on how we are targeting high school, university, and also fitness enthusiasts is that we don't have a certain target group, as in we would like to work with pros, amateurs, or semi-pros. It is an open to all platform where we work with people of different levels, of different goals, and different sporting codes in the field of sport, basically. And then our business target is to, by year one, we want to have at least 15 to 20 regular clients we have and get our break even target at month 16, basically start to make our profit and seeing the benefits of our work. And then also our priority areas is to work low cost, high impact marketing, and also cost effective workspace solutions, which basically means again, we'd have a small staff we'd have small staff, which is just the three of us, and also just maintaining and limiting our expenses, which we could have more profit on that. Moving on to business registration. Our business is a private company, which the name of the company is Apexel Performance Lab, and also in its name, it's you can tell that we focus on performance and basically enhancing athletes to be at their best potential ever. And then we are also registered with SARS, and also that is basically for our income tax, and COIDA also, which is basically the employee injury coverage. And we are using FNB, well, First National Bank, for our business banking. The governance structure of the business. And just to describe or explain what the governance structure is basically who does what and like what roles are assigned to who. And basically, the founder and CEO of the business is myself, Lisakhile Kalipa, and the massage therapist I'll be working with, and also the administrator would be Sisa Jesop, and also Adoto Sikanda would be the assistant coach and our marketing lead. And also, just to add on to that, I myself would be the strength and conditioning coach and also the sports massage therapist, as I'm qualified for both fields. Moving on to the SA business operations, it is key to note that I've only attached the bullet points or those registrations and legislations that I've deemed to be important for this specific presentation. However, everything that is important or everything that the business falls under, it has been attached in the main document itself. So the CIPC company registration is basically registration that certificates or registration certificate that is required to operate legally, and also annual return submissions are required to maintain good standing. And then that basically means that the business needs those certifications that deem the business to be legal and state that the business has undergone every ethical legislation there is. And then SARS and tax compliance is basically income tax registration is compulsory. Your VAT registration is required if revenue exceeds 1 million rand per year, and your pay as you earn, is required if employee earnings exceed plus minus 95,770 rands per year. So that basically is what is or the guideline for what the business will be charged on for tax if you are hitting a certain amount of income tax or income revenue at the end of the year. And then you have your COIDA, which is injury coverage, which is mandatory coverage for work related injuries, and annual return of earnings, which is your ROE or submission required. And then obviously every employee is required to be under COIDA, so so that they can be protected when there is an injury at work and they can get their earnings when they need to. And then you have your CPA, which is a consumer protection, which states that there needs to be clear pricing, refund policies, and honest marketing practices are required. And then training waivers must outline physical risks to clients. So this is important to note that clients need to be informed about what they'll be doing or what they'll be undergoing for the training sessions, even though it may seem self explanatory, but it needs to be stated in the contract that they will be undergoing rigorous or even any type of training plan they'll be going on. So it is protecting the consumer that they are able to withdraw from this when they need to, or if they feel like they need to. And then lastly, we have your HPCCA and your BHF, which are your health professional guidelines. I will attach this because it is important that it is not required for strength and conditioning coaches, but it's very important for sports massage therapists if it is needed by a member or a client to see that you're actually qualified for what you're doing. And then only licensed professionals may diagnose or treat medical conditions. So this is just to note that we will not be licensed for to diagnose anyone with an injury or whatever illness that we think they have, because we are not qualified for that. So those are the main business operations that this business will be running on. The best practice and scope of practice of the business. Looking at the best practice principles, we have tailored research based instruction, periodic load control, frequent evaluations and modifications to the program, a hygienic and secure institutional setting, and also staff member yearly certification upskilling. So that basically means that there will be tailored research for every individual, meaning no individual will have a generic workout or training plan. And also there'll be periodic load control, meaning that at certain times of their period of their season, athletes are doing either in competition or in season or off season. So the training plans would follow what time of the season they're in, so it doesn't cause any injuries or overtraining. And then the frequent evaluations and modifications of the program work hand in hand with the periodic load control, just to work in with the athlete and not overtrain them. And then also a hygienic and secure institutional setting, meaning that the athletes need to be in a very safe space and that they don't get sick or get contaminated like, with any viruses or anything. And then also staff members are yearly certification upskilled, meaning that we would either go for your massage level two, sports massage level two, or either nutrition courses, short term courses, so whatever it is that we can do to upskill our level of coaching and knowledge, basically. And then for scope of practice, we have strength, endurance, and injury prevention programs are led by coaches. Muscle tension, recuperation, and performance are all addressed by the massage therapist, and no medical diagnosis or care beyond what is required. Partnerships with sports physicians, dietitians, and physiotherapists. Basically, our scope of practice is what we can do and what we cannot do, while basically focusing on what we can do and not go past those ethical boundaries. Like it says, also, there's no medical diagnosis or care beyond what is required, meaning we are not qualified physiotherapists or orthopedic surgeons or whatever it is. We can only work with strength and conditioning and possibly return to play for athletes. Looking at the business operations, the location of the business is we are located in Port Elizabeth and we operate from a home based gym or home based garage gym or shared fitness space to reduce rent, meaning that as we were starting up, we do not have that much capital, and so we would prefer to work in a home-based garage gym or shared fitness space to reduce that rent, obviously, and just to be able to have enough capital or income to be able to move into our own space. And then we conduct mobile coaching sessions at schools and clubs so that the high school teams or university teams come in that way we conduct those mobile sessions. And then our client structure for our startup phase would be to work with, we aim to work with 12 to 15 individuals, clients per month. And also, we want to have at least 2 to 3 massage clients per week and one school or club partnership by month 8. So, for our goals for startup would be to have those 12 to 15 for as long as we can hold those clients, as we know that for every athlete, there are different like periods in their season where they could be more frequent with us or less frequent with us. So it is important to have that specific goal to have the 12 to 15 so the business can also grow and have an income. The daily schedule plan, or how we lay out our daily plan for the day, would be from the mornings, we'd have our one on one sessions, which would be from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And most of the time, that would be from university athletes, as from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., they are most of them are would be free with no classes that they'll be having. And then from midday, you would have your admin and mobile coaching, which would be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that mobile coaching will kick in from that time, as most of the schools come out at 2 p.m. And basically, we would have that coaching where we can work with athletes from schools. And then our afternoons would look like from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Would have massage sessions and also marketing. So that would be either going to schools or commercial gyms or wherever we can produce marketing for our business. And then evenings would be program writing and client updates. So that would look like from 6 p.m. to maybe 8 p.m. We would be writing up those programs and client updates and trying to see what we can fix for the next day. And if there are major changes for any athlete, we can work on that very same day so that the next day we know what to do. The logistics of the company. So our facility setup is using cost-effective functional equipment, which I've previously mentioned would be kettlebells, resistance bands, squat stand, your barbell set, and basically things like that that would be not as cost effective. And then your massage setup would be affordable bed, oils, basic recovery tools would be like your foam roller, your massage gun, if it is affordable at that time, and then also maybe your trigger point balls, which would look like your either your tennis ball or even a golf ball. And then software and admin will be free or affordable platforms such as Google Sheets for programs and budgeting for our monthly budgeting and also like creating our programs for athletes. And then WhatsApp or Calendly would be used for our bookings. The booking system would be preferably to book online so we can keep track of that. And then also we'll be using Canva or Facebook or even Instagram and TikTok because those are the most used platforms by the youth these days. And then for transport, we would have personal vehicles used for travel to teams or even client homes when we need to make those home calls or go to those football teams or even cricket teams or whatever sporting code it is. So when we look at the estimated startup budget, it is key to note that it is self-funded by three founders, which will be myself and my two partners, and we're looking at starting up with plus minus 23,000 rand each. And all the figures that are displayed in this are all in rands, meaning so our basic equipment would be your weights and your turf would be for 45,000 rands estimated, and then massage therapy setup would be 10,000 rands. Marketing would be your flyers and online ads, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube, will be 5,000 rands. And your business registration and legal will be 3,000. Booking systems will be free, 0 rands. Basically, we'll be using WhatsApp to book. A person can send a text and then we'll add it to our notes and calendar, or even you can use Calendly, which will be free. And then you would have your website and branding. We'll be using Canva or Wix to come up with our website for 2,000 rands. And then your miscellaneous things would be your waivers, your forms, supplies, things like that. Those that you would not really think of, but you actually need would be about 5,000 rands. So we're looking at a total startup cost of about 70,000, which we're starting to save up for now so that the business can be booming within the next year and a half. So our revenue projections for when we start up, we are looking at revenue stream and monthly income and the annual revenue we'd be hoping to hit. So our revenue stream consists of our one-on-one clients for strength and conditioning, and then massage clients, and also our mobile or team sessions that we'll be hosting. So for one-on-one clients, our monthly revenue, we need to be hitting at least 22,000 rands, 500. And for our annual revenue, it needs to be at least 270,000 rands. And then for massage clients, we hope to be getting at least 4,000 rands. And then for the yearly or annual would be 48,000 rands. And then our mobile or team sessions would look like 3,000 rands. And then at the end of the year, we need to at least get 30,000 rands. So the total revenue for this, for the monthly, would amount to 29,500 rands. And then for the full year, it would be 354,000 rands. So that is our projected annual revenue, which obviously we cannot control, but it is something we need to work towards very hard and try to get that goal. And obviously that means that we will be looking at focusing specifically on one-on-ones, which would be bringing most of our revenue as it is mainly our main point of this business. We've reached the end of the presentation, but before I head off, I just want to highlight a few points that the business, a Pixel Performance Lab, is derived from two words, apex and excel, which mean to be at your peak and to thrive. And that is what we aim to do for athletes in this industry. And then also, it is based in Port Elizabeth, and we work with athletes of all different categories, whether you're amateur, semi pro, or even professionals. Even people living our day to day lives, more than welcome to join. And then also, what we focus on is to do sports massage therapy with athletes and also work one on one sessions for strength and conditioning. And that means our sessions would be tailored around your program or your season, which then your periodic programming would be tailored around that. And we hope to make a certain amount by the end of the year, but also looking at month 18 would be when we aim to hit our break even. So those are the main points that I've highlighted for the end of this presentation, and hoping that we've gained a lot of knowledge about what the business is aiming towards. And if there are any questions or any suggestions on how the business can be improved, we'd gladly like to hear. And you can always leave a call at 079 440 8557. And if you don't reach us on our phone, you can email at epexeltraining@gmail.com. Thank you very much.